Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for attending the Ambra Spirits webinar. We're excited that you have interest to spend some time with us, and as we go through some of the offer details. My name is Mark Hubbard. I'm with On Market, and we're bringing this opportunity to market. And it's our pleasure to work on this campaign with Nando, Pepe, and Finn. And I'll just pass over to them to introduce themselves, their background, and their roles in the business. Pepe, do you want to start?
Hi everyone, Pepe Fusco. I've been involved in the business for 13 years, but been a chartered accountant for over 25 years. My role in the business is, I guess, the numbers man, making sure that we keep aligned with budgets, forecasts, reconciling and monthly P&Ls and balance sheets that I provide to the team, and which we meet in our board meetings and discuss on various matters, where the expenses are, where the income is, and just making sure we're aligned with our strategies moving forward. So yeah, that's my role in the business.
Thank you, Pepe. I can pick up there for you. Thanks for the quick intro, Mark. So I am Finn Healy. I am the Managing Director. My background from a professional kind of standpoint was, yes, my initial early stages of my career were in hospitality. So, managing, operating, making drinks in bars, hotels, clubs, festivals. Then I moved into brand marketing and sales. So I did a stint with South Trade for a little bit. Then I worked for Bacardi for quite some time. I was at Bacardi for maybe 7 years or so. Starting as a sales rep, then moving into advocacy as a brand ambassador, then finally looking after the customer marketing department, which was good fun. Then about 2 years ago, just 18, 19 months ago, Nando and Pepe, who I'd known for 10 or so years, gave me the tap on the shoulder and said, mate, we've just rebuilt our bar and restaurant, and we're going big. Can you join the team? And that's kind of my initial stage with Ambra. Since then, being the managing director here at Ambra, I guess I'm looking after all of the moving parts within the business. The sales department, the marketing department. Then I report up to the board. Different commentary on the P&L, gaps, opportunities within the market, and then of course our bar and restaurant, our venue. So just making sure all the ends are meeting, the service is on point, the food and offering is great, and all the consumers who come here have a great experience. That's me, and I'll hand over to Nando.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Welcome to the Ambra webinar. My name is Nando Focaretto. I'm an owner with Pepe. We both bought the business back in 2013. We'd been friends since school, so we have a 40-year relationship. I've been in business over 35 years in a number of businesses, and Ambra just clicked for Pepe and I. We wanted to be involved in it when we saw the business. So my role in the business is production mainly. I attend board meetings and all other meetings, but generally look at production efficiencies, new product development, really trying to make sure that we're producing the best product possible and working with the team to achieve that. And our growth from where we came from has been quite amazing in production. And we are now at a point where we're continually growing and continually expanding to upscale production. So yeah, my role is really mainly production, but as part of the whole team with Pepe and Finn. And we're looking forward to this crowdfunding campaign and looking forward to some of your questions tonight.
Well, grazie, signore. Finn, you forgot one part. You not only just joined the business, but you also invested in it, didn't you?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, when I came onto the business, also became a shareholder and an owner. So yeah, it's been an exciting 18 months of getting under the hood of the business and watching it grow from strength to strength. And yeah, we've had some great success in the market.
There's nothing like having a vested interest where your passion is there?
Absolutely, mate. Yep.
It's good.
I was born and bred to do hospitality, marketing, and sales. So yeah, that's what I love.
Good stuff. Now, I thought, Finn, that you might just show us around your venue a little bit and explain what happens and what you're doing there.
Mark, I would absolutely love to give you a little tour. So welcome everyone. This is Ambra. I'll give you a little peek out the front. We'll start from there and we'll come inside. So this is our terrace area in Theberton. That's Phillip Street, West Theby Road, our other terrace. Then we come into the main bar area, dining, cocktail service, closing the door. So here's like our high seat area for cocktail parties, events, birthdays, and we've got our low dining table area. We've got our bar, cocktail stations all ready to rumble. Just had an absolutely huge Father's Day weekend. Yeah, good fun, but the team are having a bit of well-earned rest today. There's the rest of the bar. And then as I turn around, we've kind of got the door that goes through the cool room and the kitchen and the dry stock. And then here, this is our function room. There's Nando and Frank the Still. So Frank usually works kind of Monday, Tuesday, making our liqueurs, limoncello, gins. And we've got our function bar, our office areas at the back there. And this is our, I guess, function space, right? This is the bread and butter of the experience here at Ambra, where we do birthdays, engagements, cocktail classes, hens parties, the lot. Yeah, so at this stage, some great growth and she's doing quite well. Bookings are looking incredibly healthy. Oh, and yeah, of course, yeah. Got about that. And then Nando's production room is through this roller door. It's quite a way back where we've got our 2 bottling lines. We've got our lemon peeling area. We've got our laboratory where we do all of our new product development. And then of course, all of our storage. But I think the Wi-Fi might break out if I go through that little door. So we'll leave that to the next time, right? Thank you, Nando. And that concludes our tour of Ambra Bar and Restaurant Distillery.
Very good. Thank you for that. There's a story behind the name Frank of the Still, I understand.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. Thanks for picking that up. That's named after my Uncle Frank. It's a bit of a father figure for me, my Uncle Frank, and he came to Australia with his parents back in the 1950s, and they located at the Riverland, where all the beautiful citrus come from. So they located there, and they had numerous amounts of citrus, nectarines, peaches. So they lived off the land for a number of years before relocating to Adelaide. But as many Europeans, there was a little still in the one of the sheds there, which we used to make our homemade grappa and limoncello. Not myself, I wasn't born then, but yeah. So my Uncle Frank's, and also he helped us with the cellar door, getting the still set up. So my uncle, who's a builder, helped us on numerous occasions with the building. So getting all the renovations done, etc. So yeah, so we named him after my Uncle Frank.
Nice. Nando, why don't you tell us a bit more about the rest of the Ambra story, including Librero's coming to Australia and seeking his passion in making limoncello?
Yeah, so Libro De Luca came to Adelaide in the late 1950s. As a 19-year-old, came to Adelaide and started in restaurants and spent over 40 years in restaurants, and some of the most innovative restaurants of its time back in 1956 and all the way to the 1980s, having a number of restaurants. And he's a very well-known, I'd say a bit of a celebrity. So he retired at 80 years old he retired at 64 years old and decided to take his family to the Amalfi Coast for a holiday. When he got there, he came back and saw the limoncello and he goes, "My God, how beautiful it is here on the Amalfi Coast." And we thought about it, I'd love to take this back to Australia. So at 64 years of old, comes out of retirement and starts making it in his backyard in Norwood, and develops a business, moved to Goodwood Road, and then just decided to eventually move here to Theberton when the business got too big. So his passion for limoncello was immense, and at 80 years old, he did have time. It was time to retire, and that's when Pepe and I met him. And he reminded us of our grandfathers, our nonnos. He was a beautiful old Italian man, with lots of passion, lots of fire, integrity, and wanted us to continue the Italian heritage of the business. And both of us came from different backgrounds. And we said, we see an opportunity here. And we had the passion to keep his dream alive. And that's what Pepe and I did. And we just built it and worked it. And we always had a vision of spritzers. And even Libro in his early days talked about, pre-mixed limoncello. But the market timing just wasn't quite right for us. And we've been talking about it for 6 or 8 years and had other competition in Aperol. And we knew our time would come. And it's, the last year or two, it's just been amazing. And we're only at the bottom end of the growth. So for us, it's about continuing that, his legacy, his passion, and growing the business and taking the spritz to the world and being the first limoncello producer in Australia. So we are very proud of that, and we want to continue that growth.
And I understand that there's only a couple of people that have that access to that recipe to this day.
2 of us, and I'm one of them. It's
And
very
I'm not one of them, Mark. I'm not sure how I didn't get a copy, but no, I'm not
Yeah.
one of them.
So
I think that's a great
Pepe and
story.
Finn don't know, and it is held very in tight regard. We have his old original notebook, which you might have seen in one of the other videos. It's all written in Italian, so it had to be translated. And yes, it is pure, authentic Italian recipes, but with a beautiful Australian twist of lovely citrus, which is very similar to citrus in Italy. It's the Mediterranean climate that we have here, is same as the Amalfi Coast. It produces beautiful, lovely citrus like we have in the Riverland and the Adelaide Hills.
And what a boon it's been. And it's been described as the overnight sensation, 27 years in the making. Finn, do you want to tell us a little bit about your tremendous growth that you've experienced recently?
Yeah, it's been a huge kind of 12 to 18 months. It's been very exciting here at Ambra, kind of each month just getting bigger and bigger, and just navigating that with the crew as the crew continues to grow. But a good way to summarize it is 3 years ago, we had a report of about 50 venues in Australia that were distributing Ambra. And just last month, we had our kind of update report with our distribution partner, and we're now sitting at like 1,200 venues nationally, which is incredibly exciting. So a huge amount of growth in terms of distribution, and the rate of sales there as well. We've sold over 500,000 spritzers in the last 12 months. It's like 530,000 spritzers, which is pretty damn impressive to step back and look at that stat. And then as a business in whole, our liquid sales, so just our sales, our marketing and sales kind of increase in bottles is 90%. And then the whole business is 123% growth. So if you include the venue and the restaurant and what we're seeing there, look, it's just been incredible, right? I think, that occasion, that spritz Mediterranean style celebratory occasion has just come forward in troves. People want it. They love it. That little bit of celebration they can have at the end of each day is definitely got the kind of Ambra stamp on it. And we're loving it.
Yeah, that's great success. Those are impressive numbers, and it seems to be the right time, which kind of leads into the next question as well. So why are you seeking to raise funds from retail investors at this point in time? Pepe, could you tell us a bit about your decision to raise capital?
Yeah, look, it was it wasn't taken lightly, because we've 3 passionate people, we've got great experience and knowledge, but with the cycle where we're at the moment, we're just at the bottom end. And the last 18 months, we've spent a lot of time testing the market, looking at the market, and really growing and driving, I guess, the limoncello and the limoncello sales with spritzers. So we feel that the next cycle, being at the bottom end of the cycle, is where we need to be, and we need to capture that market as quick and as I guess expand and grow. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is to bring other people along the journey. And that's why we want to bring other people into the Ambra family, and we want to be able to embrace this spritz boom and grow and continue to, I guess, be that #1 limoncello in the market.
Fantastic. And I guess a follow-up question to that then is, with that capital, what are you going to invest in to bring that continued growth to your business?
Yeah, well, through distribution, which probably Finn will probably give us a bit more indication of and talk a little bit about that. Export, we're looking at export as well, which I think Finn will be able to expand on that as well. And the venue, we're looking at growing the venue with some, I guess, expansion in the local area, Theberton, with the Southwark side. I'm not sure whether everyone's aware of it, but there's a big, the old breweries being replaced with, I think, 4,000 homes. So therefore it's going to be huge. We've got the Crows down the road. So the venue itself is going to grow. So we're looking at expanding on the venue to cater for more people. The new R&D products. So there's two exciting products that we're looking at. And I think probably Finn, you might be best to elaborate a little bit on the new products, export and distribution.
Absolutely, Peppy. Yeah, again, so we've got some huge plans to expand. The time is now, the time is right. And to grow a business to where we truly believe Ambra should be, like a global competing aperitif in the spritz kind of category, you know, we need to invest into experiences, occasions, and new business. So yeah, Peppy kind of outlined it quite well. When we look at NPD and new product development, we're in the very final stages of releasing our pink limoncello. So the pink limoncello will be, I guess, very similar to a classic limoncello, however, infused with fresh blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries. So it's a berry-infused limoncello. You know, and we are quite confident after doing some really good market research that it will take, you know, the category by storm. Especially placed in our Tulipano bottle on shelf at Dan's. We're confident that it's going to fly off shelf. You know, and then on the other hand, you know, further down the line, probably the next project after we get pink limoncello in market, distributed well, then we're going to start looking at a limoncello spritz, a premium segment player in a like a wine bottle, so a 750 ml limoncello spritz, which is a higher premium offering to the current competitors in that category. Yeah, and in terms of, just to elaborate a little bit more on what Peppy mentioned around the venue expansion, like it's incredibly exciting. You know, Peppy gets to look at the numbers. He's sitting in the office. He's going through the P&L daily. I'm on the phone, you know, trying to make sure we're balancing it all out. I'm the one here who's experiencing the absolute just boom in bookings and trade. You know, Father's Day yesterday was a good example of that, where, you know, I'm the managing director, but if I have to jump onto the service line and plate up some dishes, I'm there. I make it happen. So our bookings are looking incredible. You know, Saturdays are strongly booked now into the end of summer, and Fridays and Sundays are not far behind them. You know, so knowing that we've got the Adelaide Football Club just up the road being developed, and we've got Southwark, a brand new or a redeveloped suburb going in literally, you know, 200 meters, 300 meters down the road. That's going to bring another 1,300 new homes into the area, which I think is about 4,000 new consumers as an estimate. So if we're already at capacity now and we can't squeeze any more in, we want to be able to offer our Ambra experience to all the locals. So with that being said, how does one do that? We go up. So we've got plans to build out a rooftop bar experience here alongside a large pizza oven to really create a landmark here in South Australia and Theberton. Yeah, so some big plans on the horizon, absolutely.
Yeah, that's quite exciting, and those plans are outlined quite well and articulated nicely, and the excitement grows when you see it in the offer document, which becomes available to potential investors when we open the offer on 16th of September. So there's more detail involved in that as we get down the road. Now, I'd encourage our audience to ask any questions online that you'd like answered, and we can deal with that with you. I see one here. With the venue expansion, what approvals have you got that you need to do that with? or are they awaiting approval?
At this point, it's still concept stage, so we have not sought approvals from council or planning. So it's really just concept at this point.
I guess it takes capital to go through that process. So,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah.
We have had some budgets on costing, so we have an idea what it's costed, and we've allowed that in our offer document. But yeah, that's as far as we've gone at this point. We'd love to have it. We want it. It's part of our offer because we can see it as a huge benefit to the business and for its long-term growth.
Right. Yeah. Here's another question that we're getting in from the crowd. They're starting to roll in now. Thank you for that. What type of shares are being offered?
Yeah, so the shares that are being offered are ordinary shares, which are aligned with the existing shares. So all new shareholders will be on the same par as the existing shareholders. So there's no preference to the existing shareholders, and they're all $1 shares, $1 ordinary shares.
Yeah, and that's a feature of retail share offers like this. They must be ordinary shares, and you'll stand by all the other ordinary shareholders pari passu as an investor in the business and share in the rewards as well. And one of the rewards is potentially dividends. You might address that, Pepe. What your view on dividends in the future is?
Oh, look, dividends. I'd love dividends as well. I guess with the view moving forward about raising equity, it will be looking at putting the money into the business and spending it wisely and making sure it goes as far as it can, because it is about growing and embracing the spritz boom at the moment. I guess once we've continued to grow and we've grown to a point, and then we start accumulating retained earnings, then we may be in a position to be able to pay dividends. But like all shareholders, I'd love to get dividends as well, but we need to make sure that the business, I guess, embraces the opportunity that we have on our plate at the moment.
Yeah, and that's pretty typical of young high growth companies as well. And that is the way to achieve growth, is to continue to reinvest in the business. I think people have been interested in the different facets you have to the business, Finn. They've asked, what's the split of revenue between wholesale and hospitality?
This is all in the investor doc, the exact percentage. Pepe, if you wanted to chime in here, I believe it's about 35% is the venue now. And then what was the exact percentage for sales?
I think, distribution sales last year were just over 1.2 million. I think the venue was at about 1 million. We did about 3.4 million all up. So we do have different channels. We've got the airport, we've got duty free. But yeah, a lot of it's in the offer document. We do have online sales as well. So we've tried to capture a lot of markets, but predominantly it's the venue and it's distribution, where distribution is the opportunity.
We have another question. Do we have a cap on the raise amount? How much are we looking to raise?
Well, it's a good question, that one. At this stage, we haven't capped it, to be honest. We've got so much interest in the offer that we're just monitoring it, but we will make a final decision on that in the next, probably prior to the offer document actually coming out. But at this stage, because of the interest we've had, we've just held off finalising that number. But when the offer document comes out, it will be quantified in that document.
Yeah, it's useful to note in any crowdsourced funding raise, there is a cap by regulation at $5 million. And the biggest raise that's ever been done in the alcohol sector is 4.3 million. So that gives some parameters around where the ultimate caps will be. And of course, we'll quantify what the cap is for this raise when we see the rest of the expression of interests.
Correct.
A question about the debt. Does the business carry any debt? How much? And we looked at the capital raising already.
Yeah, that will be all itemized. We actually don't have any bank debt, but the rest of the offer document will outlay. We'll have our financials in there, and we'll itemize every item there. For example, hire purchases that we have, but there is no bank debt as such.
Yes. Valuation, again, that's another one that'll be in the offer, but you want to speak briefly to how we've gone about the valuation?
Yeah, the valuation, we've used the cap rate for these type of crowdfunding raises. So we've utilised the capitalisation rate within the guidelines of these crowdfundings, but it will be itemised in the offer document there. You'll have it in there.
Yes. Here's a good question. I don't know which of you would be best placed to do this. I'll let you fight amongst it yourselves. Maybe you can all opine. What's your confidence that limoncello will remain popular over the next 5 to 10 years?
I'll go first.
No.
I'm very confident. Limoncello's been around 100 years, so it's not going anywhere. Yeah, it's here to stay. It's in a resurgence. I've been to Europe a number of times recently, and it just continues to grow every time I go there. Not only in Italy, all around Europe, they're serving limoncello spritzes up against the Aperol, and that's amazing to see. So, and Aperol's been here, as a spritz 10 years. The business is over 100 years as well. So it's continued growth. It is here to stay. It is a beautiful lemon liqueur made locally, and people just love it. So it's the citrus that really captures people. So people love citrus things. So we're in that market of citrus. We have other citrus products. So for me, limoncello's here for the long term.
And I'll elaborate a little bit from my experience in the liquor game, where we do see these trends of drinks come into culture. And one thing we do know is that when there's a big cultural movement for a big occasion on some style of drink, it's all about the education that is the most important thing. The amount of people who have been educated on limoncello as an experience through drink or a digestive after dinner, or just hearing the cultural story behind it from the Mediterranean, Italy. Now that they've been educated, it's quite possible that lots of people are going to it's going to become their preference, that limoncello spritz. We've seen it in the past when gin had a boom. We've seen it in the past when American whiskey had a boom. It's education that's really important, where it permanently shifts the volume of people who enjoy that drink. It might plateau, but it's still going to be a large category player.
Yeah, I think for me, if I can just talk about the journey that I've seen over the last 13 years, where Nando and I, started at that site at Theberton. There was a pretty basic cellar door, and I remember Finn being there as well as our bar person, because Finn was our first bar person 11 years ago, and we used to run these events called Ambra Experience, and we'd get 40 people, 50 people. Nando would be at the back talking the story of the limoncello, and there were so many people that didn't know limoncello and didn't know that you could mix it. Traditionally had straight out of the freezer, keep you warm in the morning, help you sleep at night. So for me, seeing that journey of where we were 10, 11 years ago to where it is today, it's amazing. And I still believe that there's still education to happen, that we haven't seen the end of this. There is still people I see that say, well, what's a limoncello spritz? So that tells me that there's opportunity out there, that people still don't understand what a limoncello spritz is and haven't embraced it. But as soon as they taste it, they love it, because it's not bitter. It's a nice, sweet, dry, lemon flavored spritz, and people, when they try it, they love it. So I think that, to me, shows the journey where we've come, where we're at, And I think the opportunity moving forward for us is that there's still people that don't know our product, and there's still people that are going to embrace and want Umbra Limoncello as a spritz.
Yeah, anecdotally, it feels to me like it's just getting started, and the golden days are ahead of it. Another question from the crowd: do you think that the growth you were hoping for, your venue will be large enough to house expansion and global distribution? Nando, this might be one for you.
Yeah, we do believe it. We have some off-site facilities if required for storage. So we haven't used them yet. We've inquired, but our production area is sufficient for big growth. The only thing we would have was most probably some off-site storage for under bond storage for alcohol or for some of our consumables. And we've looked at that, and we're looking at those opportunities. That'll be part of our offer and part of our growth funds that we'll use for some production areas to increase some capacity with off-site storage. But currently everything's made on site. The lemons are peeled on site, the alcohol's here on site. So we want to keep it that way as long as possible. And we think we can. We don't think we need to spend more on a new venue or a new facility, except just for some storage. That's the only thing, if anything, finished product or consumables.
That's good. A similar question: why the dual focus of restaurant and production product development? Why not just focus on one key growth driver? So this gets to the diversity of income stream that you've all developed.
Yeah, correct. For me, being an accountant, and I've been part of a mid-tier firm, been managing partner of Moore Stevens. I've got years of experience, and focusing on one stream of income is great, but you've got to be mindful that if something does happen or whatever, you sort of close yourself in a bit of a channel. So what I like to do is, I think having the venue there is not just solely an income stream, it's also a branding exercise. People come and see us, they come and touch, they feel, they can have a look at the warehouse, and therefore, having that as well as the distribution then just gives us that authenticity and integrity of our product, because people can come and touch and feel. So yeah, and also it's a good income stream. So it's not just an income stream that it adds to the bottom line, as I would say, in the accounting terms.
Absolutely. And to elaborate on it, it definitely supports the cash flow side of things. But the real goal that we're trying to achieve in the distillery as the Ambra brand home is to immerse our followers, the lovers of our product, in the true Ambra experience, right? So if you come to Ambra, it's not just a bowl of chips and a beer, right? So every single night we've got a different style of immersive experience. Wednesdays and Thursdays we do a pasta night, right? So where we've got tableside 24-month aged Parmigiano Reggiano wheel, where we toss the cacio e pepe spaghetti through, like tableside, and we roast it with a 70% vodka infused with rosemary. So everyone gets their phones out, they film it, they have a lot of fun. We also do a bottomless limoncello spritz lunch, which is great fun, super popular, but that's accompanied by a great duo saxophone crew who play awesome party kind of Sunday jam vibes alongside the bottomless brunch, which has been popular. We do a quiz night on Fridays. We've just started doing pizza parties. Also on Fridays, we turn into an Italian piazza where we have Lino or Carlo, our in-house piano accordion crew, who come in and they get the crowd singing along to old school Italian accordion style music. Like you come into Ambra and you're going to be leaving with a big smile on your face, and you've had a lot of fun. And and the reason we do that is because we want them, when they're out with their friends, when they're choosing to celebrate with their family, or they're in store at Dan Murphy's, they see our bottle and they go, I've been there, I love it. Those guys know how to party and they know how to make a good drink, and they're heaps of fun. We are all about having fun, celebrating with friends and family here at the venue, which I think is incredibly important for the overarching brand.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting there. As I've told you, I'll be there in November, so it'll be a good time, I'm sure. Here's a question from somebody who's not familiar with this sort of investment. How are the shares priced and can they be traded going forward? Pepe?
They'll be priced at $1 per share. That's the $1 per ordinary share. Can they be traded? Again, they're not like listed on the stock exchange. They are unlisted. So the constitution, which will be part of the offer document, will give guidelines on how the shares will be can be transferred between parties. Correct.
Yep.
So yeah. So again, just make very clear, we're not a listed company. You can't just trade them, on the market. They will need to be, the guidelines will be outlined in the constitution. That will be part of the offer document.
You've talked about your overseas expansion. What markets is the company targeting for expansion? And the second part of that question, will the financial projection for these regions be included in the investor offer pack? I'll answer that second part first. No, it won't be in the offer document. By regulation. We're not allowed to make forward-looking statements. But I know that you're targeting certain overseas markets, so you can share what those markets are.
Yeah, I can elaborate further there. So initially, we are in current early conversations with a potential distributor in China. In fact, they were here earlier today, just going through some paperwork and planning on target venue groups over in Beijing. So I guess we're in very early stages. So we are currently developing out a bit of a marketing plan that distributing partner will execute. And they have committed to a initial PO, which is all kind of upfront. But it's very early days. So I guess China is kind of the first cab off the rank, purely because of a close relationship that we kind of came to us. And then we'll be looking at potentially Southeast Asia, as we've had some really early conversations in a bit of a local state government focus within Southeast Asia for South Australian producers. Then we were kind of considering New Zealand being quite a close offshore country, and some current relationships that sit within that country.
And you forgot to say, Finn, is we're taking on the Italians. We're going to sell it back to the Italians. That's one of our goals, quiet goal. We're going to export to Italy and take them on in their own game. That's one of our fund.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah, I think for me, we've always had opportunities, but again, it's finding the right opportunities, and also because it can be an expensive program to get overseas. Since we won gold in the London Spirits Award last year, and probably the only Australian limoncello ever to do so, and Pellini, who's an Italian brand, won gold as well, I think that puts, I guess, Ambra, but it puts Australian limoncello in the market, in the world market. So since we won that, I think the opportunities will be coming more and more for our product to be gone overseas. And with the crowdfunding that we're looking at doing, that will enable us to be able to embrace these opportunities and embrace on winning gold, which is, it's a great, and I think Libro, who would be looking down on us right now, will be saying, geez, my recipe 27 years later has won gold in the London Spirits Awards, because that's one thing that we pride ourselves is the integrity of our product, and that's Nando's job in making sure that we still use the same recipe that Libro founded 27 years ago and made specifically for the Australian market. And that brand and that product is still going strong. So, they're the opportunities that I think we've got ahead of us with the right funding and the right plan. It's not just about going anywhere, it's making sure that the plan is right. So that way we can utilize our gold limoncello stamp or win.
Another question about the minimum investment size. What's our minimum parcel, Pepe?
Minimum parcel is $300.
Yep. So that's a bargain to get a share of ownership, and that's fairly standard in crowdsourced funding campaigns as well. Your intellectual property and trademarks. What trademarks have you secured to protect your brand and other IP?
Nando?
Yeah, I can answer that. Yeah, we do have trademarks for limoncello, for Ambra spirits, our logo, our name. We've had those trademarks for a number of years and continue to have them. We do have other trademarks which we can't disclose at the moment, but for other products we're working through. But yeah, trademarking is very important for us, and to make sure that our brand is secure and it is not to be copied. So yes, trademarks are an integral part of our business.
Yeah, it's a strong brand too. I'm getting to know it more and more. How about opening venues in other capital cities such as Melbourne? Ben?
I can jump on that if you like. Look, what I've learned is do something great and continue until it's as good as it can be. Right now, we are working as hard as we can to perfect the experience and the offering here at the distillery. So right now, we don't have plans for expansion into other states. However, 5 years' time, who knows? But right now, no, absolutely not.
Right now, it's just another good excuse to go to Adelaide, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, as I've found, or I will find. With recent economic increase in pressures and cost increases across sectors, what backup plans have you got in mind if everything goes horribly wrong? It's a bit of a dark question, but there is a cost pressure increase around markets, so I'm sure you've thought about that.
Yeah, okay. In regards to production-wise and supplies, yes, it's a constant thing, but we have great supplies. We have a number of suppliers. What we do is we make sure we have not just one, a number of suppliers we use, because if one decides to fall off or decides to increase prices, we have another one to fall back on. So we're very particular about who we get our products from and consumables, and it's something we monitor very closely. We don't put all our eggs in one basket, and that's something we make sure we maintain. But the other risks, maybe Finn can talk about, but yeah, that's in production side. We look at, be very thorough and make sure that we cover all those options off. Sometimes some things are unforeseeable, but we make sure we track and monitor everything we can.
And from a overarching business perspective, it's all about multiple revenue streams and diverse sales channels, right? So we're always working on unlocking new customers, new channels, which in their own little diverse ecosystem have their different wins, challenges, cash flows, different customer requirements. So making sure that we've got a multi-channel diverse business is incredibly important. And another fact is that we're here today after a huge 12-month period of growing a 27-year business by 123% in 1 year, and we're still paying bills. So the fact that we've been able to unlock that amount of growth with very little amount of capital investment says that we are very clever and creative and not spending silly money to unlock successful growth. So I think it's about, in an economy like this, it's about being, the right experiential price point from a venue perspective, making sure that you are, offering a good experience at a good price. And then it's just, ensuring that the rest of the business as it grows, isn't overspending.
Yeah, and I must make an addition here as well, having spent a bit of time over the last couple of days reviewing your risk statements, which are included in the offer document that will be available to investors when the offer opens. And it appears to me that you all have a really strong handle on the risks that are facing the business, how you manage those risks, the mitigating factors that you manage to deal with those risks. So that'll be in the offer document as well. But I must say that I see evidence of a lot of diligence in how you all identify and treat those. So
Yeah,
lived experience.
yeah, but probably, Mark, I just wanted to add as well that on the finance side, we make a conscious decision to meet on a monthly basis. I'm pretty well hands-on on the numbers, and to make sure, like I'll look at the numbers quite regularly, whether it's weekly, fortnightly, and then we meet on a monthly basis to discuss the numbers. So if something gets out of kilter, we're onto it pretty quickly, and we make adjustments. So it's not like we look at the numbers at year end. We look at them on a monthly basis, and we make sure that if something's not quite right, we're onto it, and and we sort of we can make changes if changes need to be made.
Yeah, and again, I must say you've got a strong financial control capability within the organization of your size as well. It's stronger than you would usually see for an organization your size, and it's impressed me. So hopefully investors will feel the same way. Moving on to investor rewards programs, there's a couple of questions on what does your investor rewards program look like?
Yeah, so the investor rewards program, or the benefits to the investors, is all outlined in the EOI page that's currently live. So everyone has access to the different tiers and what that unlocks. And then when we release the investor doc, we'll have all of the terms and conditions that I guess explains out further each of those benefits, ranging from, you know, the basics of $300 equals 300 shares. You got your official shareholder document, then ranging all the way up to anyone who invests 50 grand or more, where it's all of the below benefits. Plus, then we're doing a like a all expenses paid experience at the venue for you and 15 friends to have one hell of a limoncello party. But yeah, so they're all very clearly laid out within the investor doc, and then on that EOI page by graph. So I don't want to bore you by going through every single one and the tiers. However, they are currently public information.
Yeah, it's a good program. So it'll be disclosed in the offer document, as Finn says. Nando, any plans for a limoncello spritz keg?
We can't say too much. That's a bit quiet, that one. Who asked that question? Someone must know some inside.
Oh, I can't give too much away.
Someone said, someone knows. Finn, what have you said? What have you done, Finn?
We'll probably benefit our venue more than anyone else. We're going through about 20 of them a week, but we've got to hand make them. So look, yeah, full opportunity, but it's not currently in our NPD pipeline. No, we'll start with the regular 750 ml bottle.
Couple of questions about international expansion. I think we've dealt with that. One about concern about American tariffs and how they affect your sales, but you've already said that that's not one of your target markets. That you can confirm that. Is that correct? You shouldn't see any impact from American tariffs?
Yeah, that's correct. We've got no plans to export to America. No, definitely starting with China, kind of Southeast Asia for the first 18, 24 months, develop some learnings there, and then expand further as we understand better strategy and opportunity.
All right. Here's an interesting question. Other than your financial challenges, what other challenges do you expect to encounter in getting to your goals? And how will you deal with them?
Look, I think hospitality, the last 12 months, it's no secret that it's been challenging. However, what I've found is that the passionate, creative leaders within the industry, if you go all in and you create a great experience for consumers, the people come. People are still investing into those celebratory moments and going out and being with their friends and family. So there's no concerns around that end. It's probably about people, right? So I truly believe that what makes a business tick and what makes a business succeed is the people that are in it that drive it. And over the last 18 months that I've been here, we haven't always perfected that. But however, from the last 6 months, the last 2 weeks that we've had at the show, the Royal Adelaide show, which is just an absolute crazy week for us here at Ambra. We're all due for a bit of a sleep in, and then as the venue gets busier and busier, we have now developed a incredibly strong team that has good culture, respect one another, support one another, and everyone has their kind of part and purpose to the business. So that's something that I'm incredibly proud of, and it was not easy to get to that point. So we're in a really good point from a cultural perspective, which I think that if people is the most important thing of a business, it's probably the biggest risk too, that we've overcome that challenge. But yeah, I guess that open-winded question on what are the potential challenges is that's a big one, right? So that's the main point for me is people. We got the right people.
That thinking. Here's somebody who's clearly familiar with the venue, and one of your challenges is parking. They seem to think parking is a challenge. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll start on that one. Yes, obviously we're a suburban business. We're on a main road, and we have approval for car parking. But any venue, if you go into the city, you've got to walk to get to a venue, and car parking can be difficult. And that's just the way it is. We can't change that. But generally, most people say there's enough parking around to park. So we do the best we can to help and assist our clients. But we are a hospitality venue in the suburbs, and we do the best to help them out where possible. But yeah, car parking is what it is for us.
Also, I recommend taking an Uber when you come to Ambra, because I reckon you'll have a couple of shots of limoncello as well. So you won't want to be driving at the same time. So we do have a lot of Uber people or people using Uber coming to Ambra because, one or two spritzers and a few cocktails and you're a little bit over the limit.
It's also
Good point, Pepe.
It's also a 1-minute walk to a free tram to the CBD. So I could probably step out the front and look to my right and throw a stone at the nearest tram stop. So yeah, we definitely recommend people taking public transport because we want you to enjoy all of our great cocktails.
Here's one about our offer period. How long will the once the document comes out, how long will the offer period be for?
I believe the offer is live for 10 days, Mark. You're the pro here.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll take that one. That's kind of my bread and butter, helping you guys manage this thing. We're planning for the offer to open on the 16th of September, and it will close on the 2nd of October. Yeah, those dates will be finalized when the offer goes live, but that's what our plan is. Here's another one for Nando on production. Provided product quality can remain, is there consideration towards the canned RDL market in the long-term future?
Yeah, great question. We have tested the market in that area a couple of years ago, and it was a good bit of market research, and it went quite well. And we've then, since Finn's been on board, we've talked about other opportunities. But at this point, it's not in our new product development cycle. But we've tested it, we liked it, but it's not a focus for us.
Someday,
Maybe
but
someday.
not with this round of capital.
No.
Yeah. We did talk a little bit about what we're going to use the funds that are raised for. And I know some of this will be in the offer document too, but there's a question about how do you prioritize where you invest post-raise, product development versus distribution versus venue, especially if you're constricted with the amounts you have to invest.
I think I'll take that. It'll be again. Once we've understood, or once we've come to the number that we've raised, we will be having meetings, strategic meetings. We do have 2 or 3 strategic people that we do use. One is got global expansion experience. Another one is venue driven. And another one is, I guess, distribution. So what we'll be doing is, once we've quantified the amount, we will be making, we're not going to be spending it straight away. It's about making sure that we make the right decisions that will increase and give the greatest return to the shareholders. So the offer document will expand a minimum and maximum crowdfunding amounts. But again, I would like to reiterate, it will be strategic decisions, and it's about making sure that there is I guess, the best return possible to all shareholders, and the decisions are made for the best of the business.
Very good. Here's one I haven't seen before. Are you using predictive analytics for supply estimation?
Is that more supply estimation or production capability? So is that a question for Nando maybe on forecasting and predicted sales?
Sounds like we're not using predictive analytics for supply
No.
estimation. Yeah.
That's a no from me.
Yeah. Here's an interesting question about the pricing in overseas markets versus Australia. Looking at the price point of a bottle in Australia versus what it can be sold overseas, especially if you're going to take on the Italian market, where labor is cheaper and liquor entry price is lower than Australia. Well, we know what the excise impact is on Australia, and that's an advantage overseas, but I'll let one of you delve into that.
I can pick that one up because I've been leading, I guess, the current position of our export strategy. So we're not at that stage yet where we've done a deep analysis, a pricing matrix of every potential country that we're looking at. We are in early stages with our distribution partner who will be looking after China. However, once again, that's more of, we're kind of mid-negotiation there in terms of what we would then on-sell to them for versus what it would be priced at in the market. Yeah, so the reality is we're not at that stage yet to be able to share details on our pricing matrix in other countries. However, as we know, you don't pay excise on export, right? So it's a completely different kettle of fish, and it is a huge business opportunity for us in our cash flow.
Yeah. And you do get an excise advantage from exporting too, I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. There is no excise, so it's exempt from excise, which really for us, for people that know, is Australia is probably one of the second or third highest excise countries in the world. So that's why we like looking at export as well, because it creates volume, but also we don't have to worry about the excise, and it's just managing our costs. But as Finn says, we haven't done the analysis yet. We're at early discussions because it does cost money to export in that, the upfront programming, etc. So yes, but the excise, as you rightly say, Mark, no excise when you export, which is great. And there's some good government strategies out there through Austrade, etc. that want. And I think the Distillers Association are also very big on it, and there's some real good opportunities if you are going down that path to get some real good information about exporting offshore.
Here's an interesting one. Do you see Italy claiming the name limoncello like the French have with champagne and other national identifiable names and products?
Nando?
Yeah, there's been talk about that. It's been talked about for quite a while, but they haven't been able to confirm where it's at and what could happen. So it's an unknown for us at the moment. I think it's unlikely because it's not actually a regional territory thing like tequila or champagne, which are specific to regions. I think it's a lot of talk, but we don't see it as an issue at this point in time.
Yeah, good one. Getting down to the end, just to expand on the last one, there's a question about some people may not understand what excise is. So that's simply a tax levied by the Australian government on alcohol production for domestic consumption. So, and it's a major cost component of all beverage manufacturers, alcoholic beverage manufacturers in Australia. And so there are price point benefits to going overseas and not incurring that cost here.
Correct. And probably I will add to that as well, Mark, is that there is a rebate threshold. So for distilleries, we actually get, and it's on the tax portal, etc. But you actually get the first $350,000 worth of excise. You actually don't have to pay it. Well, you pay it, but you get a rebate.
You get a rebate.
So basically, you don't pay it. So the first $350,000 worth of excise is rebatable back to you, and you don't have to pay that first $350,000.
And our final question, what is the current board and corporate governance structure?
Well, currently the board the company has 3 directors, myself, Nando and Finn. We're all shareholders. Finn is the managing director. He runs the business day to day. There is in the offer document does have a organizational chart. So the 3 of us are our board. We do have 3 independent individuals or consultants that we use from time to time. One assists us with the venue to make sure that we're meeting all our KPIs, and Finn meets with that gentleman, and he's in the offer document. You'll be able to see who that is. Then there's a gentleman who is more operational. He assists us with our operational day-to-day discussions that we may have. Again, they're independent consultants. And then we've got another individual who's got more strategic assistance, growth, exit, who we've just recently, probably in the last 6 months, I've had discussions with him, etc. So basically, it's the 3 of us as the board, but then we use strategic people to assist us when we need strategic goals or assistance with any parts of the business.
Yeah, so in addition to your fiduciary corporate board structure, you 3 owners, you have an advisory board as well to help you with things.
Correct. Because there's a lot of things that happen out there, and we just want to make sure that we're not, Nando's got his skill set, Finn's got his skill set, I've got my skill set, but also it's about using other people that have got other skill sets that can value add to what we're trying to achieve.
And I've said it before, but for a business your size, that's something that's rarely seen, and I find to be quite impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, that wraps it up for the questions that we have. In a little over an hour, I'd like to thank our audience for joining us and propose a toast, perhaps, gentlemen. A little salute.
Right.
Well, I thought we'll have a
Mine's empty. I'm gonna have to go upstairs and get more.
all the best to everyone, and thank you for joining in, and salute.
Salute.
And hope to see everyone as part of the Ambra familia. Hope to see you soon.
Welcome aboard.
Salute.
Salute to growth.